We'll call this meeting to order. It's good to see everybody here this evening. Mr. Wolf won't be here. He's not feeling well, but we've got a quorum here, so we'll get some important business done tonight. And we're going to start off with a public hearing. See if anybody's here to speak to that. It's an ordinance to rezone 3 tracts of land along Miller Drive and West Jackson Boulevard from R1 to PRD. Parcels 3.04 and 3.03 and B3 to PRD on the Washington County Tax Map 59D Group A. Anybody here to speak to that? All right, we've talked about that one before. Next item is an ordinance for the fiscal year 23-24 budget amendments for the general fund, solid waste fund, and drug fund. Anybody here to speak to that? Okay, very good. Now it's an ordinance establishing building permit fees and plan review fees for fiscal year 24-25. Anybody want to speak to that? Okay, we'll close that public hearing and move into our regular meeting. And we'll start that off with a opening prayer by Vice Mayor Adam Dixon.
Let us pray. Dear God, we appreciate you. We thank you. We're always grateful. Blessings that you extend, kindness that you show. Awfully grateful for this community in which we live. And should never, ever take it for granted. We just thank you for this another day. Help that you have provided, allowing us to go about and interact. And God, just so grateful for this moment in time in our lives, just to see each other one more time, to greet each other. Just very grateful because there's a lot of cynicism in the world, a lot of hopelessness in the world, and just very grateful for feelings of hope and resilience and joy. Thankful for freedom. Just a number of blessings that I believe by choice you provide. God, ask that you guide our deliberations this evening, as that everything be to your glory. Bless these servants that are on the board and the people that make up the town of Jonesborough. Bless our neighbors and our friends. Christ, we ask this all in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Adam. Ruth, who do you have to lead the pledge?
Robin Hart.
All right, Robin.
Face the flag, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now, Madam Recorder, roll call, please. Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Okay, we'll move right into our consent agenda. Not that much on there tonight, but Alderman, anything there you wish to see removed and discussed?
Consent 8.
We'll remove number 8 to discuss. Anything else, Alderman? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion to approve consent agenda 1 through 7.
Amen.
Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon. Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Madam Recorder.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now we'll discuss number 8. Virginia, I'll let you take over.
It's just for clarity. The assistant operations manager for the Jackson and the house manager for the Jackson is not. It's not in the budget paperwork that I have, but it says it's in the budget. I didn't know if there's somewhere else.
Should probably have said for an amendment budget somewhere. Look at the last paragraph. We're looking to fill assistant operations now at this position is budgeted. Okay, I see. An amended budget would be presented to the board for approval prior to the. So probably all of them should say that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, anything else, Virginia? Okay, we'll take the agenda item number 8 and I guess make that change towards to an amended budget. Add that to the background and recommendation. So Got a recommendation to approve these position descriptions as presented, the exception of amending the budget to pay for them.
I'll make a motion to approve with the amended budget being done before they're hired.
Okay.
I just want to know, I want you to know I'm not against
Yeah.
anything down there because I was down there today. That place is
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
Would you be open to? There's enough in the budget for the current operations manager. And then there was technical person, then there was custodial. Would you be open to, if the budget would allow it, to go ahead with the assistant operations manager? And then wait for the technical and house manager for amending the budget? If I can show that there's enough in the current budget to support the operations and the assistant operations?
Yes, you,
I could add,
With job description.
part of the issue is. I think the way that should have been worded is there were two positions. Budget. And that we would bring them in, budget back for the other two, so. I think we asked, as Mr. Rosenthal said, is that. The technical director, I think, was in the original.
Yeah, but not
We
an
could take
assistant.
The two positions now.
No,
Amber's done an excellent job and I think she does need help.
I
So,
don't know if all the board got the email. If the state fire marshal approved
Oh, wow, good job.
after the inspection today, so. Good. These BRC's finished up with like. Both of this.
I'll show that the budget can support the two positions and bring the amendment back in at the September.
you got it.
All right, Alderman, you've heard the motion from Alderman Causey and the changes expressed by Glenn. Got a second? A second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? Call the vote, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carried. All right, now we'll move into our financial report. Janet, you want to give us a report on that?
It's preliminary. Tweaks and things that take place. By the time you get the final number, our year-to-date sales tax figures, we don't have the final sales tax figures because there's a 2-month lag. So we'll have to keep this up long enough to get June's results, which we won't know until later this month. So we'll get that bit, that year-to-date, 11 months, we're at 2% growth. Okay, property taxes, and about 96% so far, but again, on property taxes, in this accounting thing, the governmental accounting rules let you go out and grab July and August collections for property tax and pull those in and recognize those, so that's another final number, and I'll have to it, so whatever we collect through August 30, we get to recognize now. We'll have more firm numbers, that shouldn't change.
Well, I noticed in the property tax that additional revenue this year compared to last year was much higher. And this with the growth and everything else that we had. So. Yeah. Okay. Alderman, any questions? If not, I'll take a motion on the financial report. Move to approve. Got a motion to approve from Alderman Countermine, a second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Madam Recorder. Aye. All right, motion carried. Yeah, we got some communications from myself here, and I'll just kind of touch on a few things here. One, since we're talking a little bit about finances, I was really pleased to see the building permits and our comparison sheet this year compared to last year. That July was really a gangbuster year or month for us this year. Over $7.5 million in project cost just in that 1 month. It's probably pretty close to a record, other than maybe when Lowe's went in or something of that nature, but better than any month last year. Permits was only 38, which is kind of in line, but the value of those projects are greater. And I was happy to see this, something we'll discuss later on about trying to capture more revenue from our permit fees and all these things that we charge developers. That was probably a record month for us as well, over $41,000 in permit fees and things like that for that month of July. So good to see that. Gives us, we've already collected as much permit fees over those 7 months as we did all last year. So that's welcome. We need that to improve our infrastructure. So things are working out the way we wanted right there. That's great news. And, reading through our reports, I mean, I think Glenn talked about it. There was 390 pages of things that we had to read through. And, but reading through them, our supervisors and directors do a great job getting those information. But, I'm not sure if Chris Cadera is here tonight, but he's our new park and rec director, and his write up on what's going on down at the, wetlands. We made some great improvements down there. Great new, programs and things that they've started. Are a good write up on what's happening at Stagecoach Park. We're doing some renovations down there. Just really good. I was impressed with what Chris put in there. We're excited about what he can do in our park and rec department. Same thing with Amber there. She's got her hands full, as Virginia said, with the Jackson Theater. But I tell you what, she's putting all this program together. There's 3 pages, will actually be 6 pages, but 3 front and back of all the things that we're already planning for programming. She's got her months laid out. Just reading through it, I'm really impressed. So thank you for that, Amber. We're going to have a outstanding facility down there in operation. And I get to brag on the street department. When you read theirs, it's like one thing after another. They're helping everywhere. They're helping at the park and rec. They're taking care of our streets. Their write-ups are always great. So appreciate what they always do in their write-ups. And that's all I've got other than employee of the month. We've got Rick Duvall out there. That's probably the first time he had 2 people nominate him. I'll read you one of them, though. You had everybody bragging on you. I'll let you hold that there, Rick. But I would like to nominate Rick Duvall for Employee of the Month. Rick is a great team player and exemplifies the qualities of Employee of the Month. He goes above and beyond to be helpful and responsive. Anytime I've ever called him and asked for help, he responds quickly. He has never acted overwhelmed or too busy to help. Rick is someone that you only ever hear good things about. I have heard other supervisors and town staff talk about how nice he is and how hard he works. When you consider that his job is dealing with the things that are broken, someone having a crisis, and everyone needing their emergency dealt with right then and there, it would take the right person to take all that in strides. Rick is one of the kindest and most patient people, and I am thankful to get to work with him and appreciative of his hard work. He also has a great sense of humor. That makes working with someone fun when you can cut up and enjoy the day and the people you work with. Rick has worked very hard to improve efficiency as well. He recommended changing our lights out at the senior center to LED to improve energy efficiency and in the long run save money. Rick has worked very hard to change out almost all the lights in the senior center, which has been a big project, but the outcome is better for the center and the budget. Rick is a great addition to the town and will make a wonderful Employee of the Month. And you are the Employee of the Month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let's say Malcolm Highsmith also nominated you. He had a lot of great things to say about you as well. So we appreciate everything you've done for the town of Jonesborough for a long time now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. All right, that's all I've got. And we'll move into citizens' comments. And Allison, I think you're up first, just if you will.
I don't have a comment. I did sign up, but that was my mistake. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. You got to pay the fee anyway. All right, Fred, you jump to the top. Even though I called you Fred, you need to give your name and address for the record.
Oh, well, my name is Fred Counts, and I'm actually not even a town resident, but I live at 2903 Browns Mill Road in Johnson City, Tennessee, but I do work a lot here in town.
You serve us too, so that counts.
Oh, I certainly do. As a matter of fact, first of all, thank you for your time this evening, having me up here to speak to you folks. And I'm up here representing the Heritage Alliance's Board of Trustees. I'm actually speaking to an agenda item here on the back here at F, discussion and possible action concerning approval to purchase the rights to a spot on the hill from the Heritage Alliance. I really first would just like to thank the sincere efforts and open dialogue between our organization and the McKinney Center to allow Ann Mason's creative works to stay with her in her new role there. Of these works, it could be argued that Spot on the Hill is the most recognizable, and its value to the town as both an entertaining show and a cultural resource is indisputable. The Heritage Alliance recognizes that this play is more than just the work of one organization. It's the creation of a playwright, and that play deserves a future with the person who's been its steward through many spectacular seasons. And rather than have our two boards at potential odds in the future where we're just fighting one another, all for over, who gets what this time or percentage or whatever. We really think it's best that Spot on the Hill remain with Ann Mason at her new role as program manager at the McKinney Center. So negotiating the sale of the rights to this play to the town of Jonesborough will keep this important creative work in the hands of its creator, which is precisely where this belongs, in my opinion, as well as the opinion of our organization, as well as give our organization a severance of sorts as we work to replace the income from this production as we sell it to the town, and something that better fits our current mission. So really just thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me comment on this agenda item.
Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it. All right. Is anyone else that did get a chance to sign up for it? All right, very good. We'll move right on to the rest of our agenda, and that's Alderman Communications. Alderman, anything you want to share? Virginia?
I have one thing. I talked to Miss Jennings today that I guess I'll need to make a motion, or we'll need to add it to the agenda, is on our employees' back pay for their increase to make it effective the first payday in July, not July 1, just the first payday, to make it much easier in accounting as well as showing our employees appreciation. So that way they will get the back pay starting with the payday instead of just days, or not getting it for those days.
Does that make sense to you, Janet?
It does, just, full transparency that would be for the 2-week pay period, that's the first pay period in July, that would back up to June 4th, isn't it?
What you're thinking on that, Virginia?
That's
That's
close.
good. Okay. All right.
Is there anything legally wrong with that?
I'm just trying to recall, have you passed the payroll already? Yeah, okay.
I'll move that we put it on the agenda.
Okay, got a motion to add that to the agenda by Alderman Countermine.
Second.
Second by Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Madam Recorder?
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Cameron?
That motion carried, and we gotta, make that motion to add the first pay period.
I'll make a motion that the increase for our employees are effective the first payday in July, which will back up into June, but that's okay.
Okay. That motion from Virginia.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? I'll just say, I think every year we kind of get to this point, and I almost think when we do our budget, we should just plan on backing that up with the first day of the pay period every year.
It rarely ever works out perfectly.
Yeah, right. So that's just something we should always just do.
Well, it just shows appreciation for our employees, looking at it that way.
All right, call the vote, please.
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Cameron?
Aye.
Alderman Big.
That motion carried. All right. Adam, Terry, y'all got anything? We're supposed to talk about recycling. He was bragging about recycling. I know he's got to talk about it.
I was just glad to see, in, Mr. Ford's report, it seems like our solid waste department is, moving forward with, I guess, cardboard, but also, wanting to pursue, plastic recycling. Number of citizens in town are, little hurt that, we've, done away with curbside. I think that, they've extended some grace to the town, given our situation, and, I'm glad to hear that there's some alternatives. Am hopeful that, maybe at the right moment in time, we may be able to revisit, such things as curbside, but, again, this right here seemed to be a very healthy alternative, so I'm glad to see it.
Built one on the west. Don't come in the near future, find a spot on the east end. Open it up.
It said something about supplying bags for the plastic. Is that right? Is that something they
Yeah,
have it
right
down?
now, Mayor, we're unable to fail. No one will take plastic, so this particular company who is also in contact with Washington County Solid Waste. They actually provide the bags.
Okay.
They come by and pick up full bags and put out even the empty bags. So they're actually the company themselves picking up.
Okay, very good.
Have you been in touch with Eastman about their program and need for plastic?
We have, I know Mr. Rodenhoff has had several conversations with them as well, and at some point, we may be able to take that back over, but for now, this was pretty much the only alternative we had to be able to start taking plastics from that one.
We still have, we were able to secure, I think, a couple of balers when, or two balers that function from where the building was destroyed, a little over a year ago. Talking to Eastman as well as far as the plastics, looking at the potential of curbside, what that looks like. The one company that I had spoken to and went through a regimen with, they basically required that the entire town be signed up. And so that was going to create oh gosh, this is a mandatory program that we're imposing on them, and there was no way around it. Back in the day, you could do a sort of a subscription. So looking at that kind of model, but that is more town and customer friendly, to where it's more of a trying to generate interest, and then being able to get a group of folks with the right price. The pricing is also very pricey. From the standpoint, it's probably right now it's about, I think it's $17.50 for single tote pickup. It's probably about that much or a little bit more if for hiring someone to do curbside. It would be $18 per household. So we're trying to look at how do we reduce costs and not put the burden on people that don't want a service and then have to pay attention to have to cancel a service and maybe forget about canceling. So we are looking at alternative type companies like that.
And I'll talk to Food City, they've got leftover in.
We had talked to Mr. Lyon, Cheryl, who lives in town off East Main. And he should know that the town of Jonesborough is very interested in partnering with Food City. So as soon as they announced it with Food City and Kingsport, I spoke to him that either that day or the next day. So we're hoping for a partnership there.
All right, very good. Anything else, Alderman? I will say Craig always gives us great write-ups, and as does Glenn. And then Glenn had a lot of interesting things in there. One, appreciate Glenn putting something in there. He's excited about the Tiger Way signalization plan. That's our new red light.
Actually
We're gonna
said
have.
sit down before you read my part.
Yeah. Well, he got me excited. Says, "Hey, we're as close as ever." Then I read 30 to 60 days. I'm going, that ain't quick. That ain't quick. It's been like 5 years. But that's the red light. We'll have.
We're in
Tiger Way.
days versus months versus years.
But it looks like it's going to happen. I guess with Wendy's going in there, will they have a red light across?
Yeah,
it?
so their Wendy's is there was a note on on plans that talk about the T-Dot signalization. And so I think they're,
And that,
they were, yeah, they know they're supposed to be talking to T-Dot, and if they didn't know, we reminded them.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll be coordinated, and then also turning lanes as well are part of the road improvement. So be a pretty sophisticated road improvement, good turning lanes, good vehicular stacking, timing, things like that. So it'd be very intelligent type signalization. So that's why I said be seated as you're about to read this. We are close. I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't believe it.
yeah, we pushed and pushed trying to get that
Yeah.
thing done before school started last year, and it's like, it didn't happen. Nothing like that.
TDOT Commissioner Butch Ely is doing a fantastic job as far as he's also Deputy Commissioner, is revamping some of the parts of TDOT that is more community, I find it community related and communication related, and it's been going very well, and I predict the near future with some changes, which I had in my report, will even local programs will be a force to be reckoned with for communities that use that program for TDOT improvements.
Well, we'll have the opportunity to find out. We got that, we're trying to get a traffic circle there on the Boones Creek Road, heavily traveled road, but we've got a need there when we do a road from this new school site down to Boones Creek Road. This is going to connect with that traffic circle, and let's hope it doesn't take as long for that as it does if this red light, but
Right.
That'll be welcomed when it does come. Appreciate your guys' write-ups and taking the time to be so thorough on that. All right, Jim's, you're up. Anything you got to share with us?
The only thing I want to let you know is that I anticipate next month, needing to meet with you on the executive session, and give you an update on two pieces of litigation.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, we'll move right into our old business. First item is discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading of an ordinance to rezone 3 tracts of land along Miller Drive and West Jackson Boulevard from R1 to PRD, parcels 3.04 and 3.03, and B3 to PRD, it's the whole parcel PRD, on the Washington County Tax Map 59D Group A. Alderman, you got any questions or comments about that? This is our final reading on that. If not, I'll take a motion. Motion to approve from Alderman Causey, second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Madam Recorder.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Kelly.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye. All right, motion carried. All right, next item is discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading of an ordinance for the fiscal year 23-24 budget amendments for the general fund, solid waste fund, and drug fund. Any questions or comments about that?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve from Alderman Countermine,
Second.
second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Madam Recorder.
Alderman
Aye.
Alderman Kelly.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye. Motion carried. Next item is discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading of an ordinance establishing building permit fees and plan review fees for fiscal year 24-25. Talked about that a little bit earlier. Certainly need that. A motion to approve from Alderman Dixon. That's second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Madam Recorder.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Kelly.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Motion carried. That takes care of our old business. Now we'll move into our new business. This discussion and possible action concerning first reading of an ordinance to establish an updated occupational safety and health program plan, devise rules and regulations, and provide for a safety director and the implementation of such program plan. So you're right up there. What the plan is to have something Phil Fritz used to do for us, retired, so we got a new employee that'll take over there, Mr. Peace.
Looks good. I move to approve.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Countermine. That's second from Alderman Causey. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
All right.
Alderman
Motion carried. All right, next item's about us receiving money. We like that. All right, next one, discussion and possible action concerning approval of a resolution to accept a donation from Ballad Health for the Jackson Theater. We're donating $250,000 to the theater for over 50,000 over 5 years. We appreciate that commitment to Jonesborough. They've been wanting to get more involved down here and they're doing it in a big way. So we appreciate that. Alderman, any questions about that? Mark, I'll take a motion.
I would just say, and I think Alderman Wolf, if he were here, he would comment to some degree that Ballad, of course, Ballad, I think their tagline is telling your story, telling a story, telling the story, whichever article you wish to use. But at the same time, they are leading the way in the region, and I think it's healthy to see Ballad participate with the theater, and I also think about where the theater is going to go in terms of being here in the storytelling capital of the world. I think that's going to be awfully positive. The connection there is just really, really great. I hope that it's going to be a positive addition, and glad to see. Really appreciative of that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adam. Got a motion to approve from Alderman Dixon. We wait for that.
Second.
Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Alderman Paulson.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
That motion carried. Right, we talked about this a little bit here on the Boones Creek Road, it's still the Parsons Circle. Discussion and possible action concerning approval of the Mattern and Craig scope of services and fee proposal for a warrant study regarding State Route 354 at the Parsons Circle. And it's basically the traffic circle we'll need to put in down there, let them do a study on all that. Something you have to do. Costs about 10 grand, I think, that's that study. Yep. Alderman, you got any questions or comments? Not, I'll take a motion. Move to approve. Motion to approve from Alderman Countermine,
Second.
second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion?
What realistically, as people asked all the time, when will this happen? Are we talking 10 years, 5
Well,
years?
in my opinion, we need to have it happen when we build the road, so it's, But even though without the road, you got Parsons Circle and all the apartments right there that, and it'll slow traffic down even some, which is something we need to do.
Do you have a feeling for it?
I was actually thinking that everybody would be very impressed that I highlighted general fund and where the funding was coming from. But you shouldn't have highlighted.
Yeah, when you get right off the screen.
Yeah. No, so source of funding, whether or not, TDOT through MPO, as I've said, is a source of funding. I'm not to say that the local funds should be used, but that is obviously leveraging of our own funds as well. And I think that's where I went to an MPO meeting last week. It's on what we call the list, waiting for the warrant study. If the warrant study comes back and says a signal is or a whether or not it's a roundabout or traffic signal or both are warranted, then the next step is it's submitted back to MPO for process and it gets on their 5-year program. That's not to say it would happen 5 years. So that is
MPO is Johnson City. Right?
Johnson City MPO, which Jonesborough, all of Jonesborough is in that what they call their transportation area. So I don't think I'd be here thinking, well, if it's 5 years or 8 years, I think we're gonna have to move quicker than that. But this is an opportunity to be part of the program, see how it goes, the priority list, and the warrant study gets us closer. So I'd say in the next few months, we'll know where it is in the order of the program. Now that's on the Boones Creek road side. And then of course there's the extension of Skyline to Parsons Circle. That's another funding source that is not tied to TDOT or what we call local programs through TDOT. Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful to say it's not 5 years or 8 years, but I think we'll know. We're more sensitive to, I say we're more sensitive. We are sensitive to timing of our projects. I say more so now to know we can't wait 5, 8 years to do these type of projects.
Well, the state, I know Governor Lee, their priority is for TDOT to be more responsive and quicker And
Yeah.
that's something that Bruce has tried to do, and let's hope this, recent changes they've made is maybe it takes a 5-year project and get it down to 3 or 2 or something.
Yeah, so really process for us, as far as being in the hopper for the traffic signal Tiger Way was timing. It wasn't really anything that town of Jonesborough slowed down the process. Local programs was just a very, very slow process, months and months in between reviews and comments. So it's better today. And as my write-up says, Director Glenn Berry of MPO is very helpful with Steve Allen. So am I, because I've known him for years and years. He's been, I think, in TDOT for 47 years, not sitting there and, basically getting things done. So we are enthused of that. And this is a local program. I've committed to that we would help manage the program.
Very good. Any other discussion? We didn't call for the vote on that, did we? All right, call for the vote, please.
Ah,
A motion carried. Yeah, another nice thing right here, discussion and possible action concerning approval of an outdoor use permit application for Grace Meadows Farm Creamery. Will be there on Main Street at 115 East Main Street. They've got their creamery in operation out there at their farm. And it's very, very good. Anything they do out there is good. So we're excited about having them part of our downtown. Even more, they do on the antique store there as well. So yeah, good addition.
My understanding from Mr. Eldridge is that they're looking at the end of the month potentially to be fully opened with the business.
Very good. Alderman, any questions or comments? If not, I'll take a motion.
so
Motion to approve from Alderman Causey.
Second.
Second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? Call the vote, please.
ah,
All right, motion carried. We got more ice cream choices now. All right, next one's another good one. Discussion and possible action concerning approval of Jonesborough locally grown to hold the farm to table event at the visitor center as an alternative location in event of inclement weather. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Glenn, I know you and I
I
talked.
think you just hit that part. This is a what if.
Mhm.
And so as far as the knowledge I've gained is the ambiance, the atmosphere, the historic value of farm to table on Main Street is number one. And I've not heard back as far as a secondary plan. This is the idea of a secondary plan of a just in case. So just being presented as as an alternative potential.
My comment to Glenn was that I really wouldn't want to see it move to the visitor center.
Yeah.
It just needs to be another date
Yeah.
on Main Street. That's so pretty down there. That's part of it. But let's just give it another option, I guess.
Do you remember the year that it did rain and the volunteers there was an army of volunteers and they had tarp and literally covered us up that evening. That was so-
Right. That to me, the stories I've received was the most memorable one, not like get up and flee, but actually sit there and be in awe to be covered during the rain.
Fortunately, it was a short shower.
That's probably all the people that held the tarps are the ones who want this alternative.
Yeah.
All right, Alderman, I'll take a motion.
Mayor?
Yep.
Well, I might suggest one thing that probably ought to be added. It's mentioned in the verbiage in the presentation, but in the recommendation, it probably needs to be included that it's subject to the ABC permit on the wild.
Yeah.
It says they can serve wine and beer, but really that's up to ABC. So
Yeah.
just add that. Good to go.
Okay. All right, Alderman, so you can see the recommendation there with the subject to the ABC wine permit. Right, Jim?
Yes,
I had a question, I don't know if it's a typo or not, but where it says the different things that happen, requirements has to meet, and said it is located in a municipality having a population of not less than 5,050 people, nor more than 5,059.
Yeah.
That can't be right.
I think it was kind of
According
according
to
to Jonesborough just for this approval.
Yeah, so it's the
That's-
2010.
Yeah.
But that's 10
census.
people. Is that accurate? I mean, it seems,
This is, I don't know the full extent of when the legislature wrote it, but this is directly from the site. I can double check it. I mean, not that,
Not that it's me, but it's weird.
that's the way it's written.
That's the way the legislature did, they're not allowed to say, only in the town of Jonesborough, but they can say in municipality, and they can pinpoint it to your 2010 census number. And so
What was our 2010 census numbers?
It was probably 2000 or 5,057.
It's in there. It's in there. Yeah, so that's why it gets interesting when you're looking.
Weird.
You won't find visitors center
and
and
on that all through the Tennessee cut.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. There's more of our places, JRT Jackson, they're not called those, we're just, you have to find them. I have found them though. Okay. Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? All right, I'll take a motion. Motion's approved from Alderman Dixon.
Okay.
Second from Alderman Countermine. Call the vote, please.
Alderman Hunter,
Aye.
Alderman
Motion carried. Now, this is what Fred talked about earlier, is discussion and possible action concerning approval to purchase the rights to a spot on the hill from the Heritage Alliance. Yeah, hey, that's a good little program, because there's been many years I wanted to go, and by the time I get around to try to buy a ticket, it's sold out every time. So, yep. So this is a $5,000 purchase over 2 years, so $2,500 for the first 2 years, and then it's for the first 2 years, and then it's completely ours. Seems well worth it. Alderman, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Motion approved from Alderman Countermine. Second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call the vote, please.
Alderman Halsey.
Aye.
Alderman Taylor.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Right now, next item is discussion and possible action concerning approval of bids for Tiger Park playground equipment. And trying to get that park complete over there, and this is we're so appreciative that the state gave us a lot of money to do this with. And this is some of the final pieces.
Very good traction, which I didn't mean to say that with the track, but a lot of good traction, and the premier lighting is on site, getting ready to start with the athletic field lighting. So that's pretty much lighting in the athletics. So that's great. And then this is the largest of the playgrounds. It's specific Tiger Park playground. And you can see in the write-up, there's some issues with the one of the two bids that came in, and the recommendation for Recreational Concepts, who we've been working with since Tiger Park started. And that relationship partnership has gone very well.
State of New York playground, the
It's-
Green Bay zip line, that's pretty short.
Yes,
Kids are gonna have a good time.
yes.
Yeah.
You and I should be like.
One night under darkness. Yes.
We have security cameras there, so we're
First.
Show up on Facebook.
Things are about the pickleball courts look really good over there.
Yeah. We
I
have
saw
two
people-
nets on, I believe two nets on order out of the last two nets. So it is it's a great looking facility, and makes you want to play pickleball.
Yes, it does. All right, Alderman, can I get a motion? Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon,
Second.
second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? All right, call for the vote, please.
Alderman
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. All right, next item is something I think has been in the news a little bit, but I think we got a good plan on that to make our residents happy. Discussion and possible action concerning approval of letter of agreement, the direct appropriation for First Frontier Trail Phase 1. And that's basically, Jonesborough, we love trails, and we're gonna connect this whole town together. And this is a trail that's gonna go a long way, and we're fortunate that the state in some ways gifting us, granting us this amount of money with no match.
No matter.
We're gonna build some trails. And some residents on East Main, because half of East Main has concrete sidewalks now, was worried about being asphalt in front of their homes. But I think the idea here is we're gonna try to do that all concrete to kind of make it all match.
We're looking to work with property owners and see how far we can obviously stretch the dollar and.
Yeah.
And look at alternatives to asphalt in different areas.
And of course, some areas will be asphalt. That's the way it is in most of the places, but gonna be great no matter what. All right, Alderman, well, you see the recommendation there. Is any comments to accept this $2.4 million? I think we'd be better take that and run.
Are these trails that on this map, is that what's costing 2.4 million?
Yeah, so
The
this,
red, right?
yes, so this proposal is, or the proposed budget is based on the trails that you see there. There may be some tweaking just from elevation changes or terrain, or I can go around and pull that. That's a general. As Mr. Ford pointed out, there's at least one on here. It's pretty bad. I was looking at it upside down. I knew where we were. There were parts on West Main that we've already accomplished from this last through our local plans, which you can see the width of the sidewalk. And that is one thing about the width. I mean, I know a lot of times it's you know, you want 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet. But if you look at West Main Street, you're probably talking about probably 7 to 8 feet at least. And nowadays, if you walk the trails or you do anything on the trails, if you notice if you're two people, it's like a bad movie, someone's behind you saying on your right, on your left. Makes me think of one of the Avengers movie with Captain America passing, I think Falcon, whatever. I digress. But it is important that we are looking at wider in a sense to where people don't have to be so, and if you're walking, you kind of get the point. So, and looking again between asphalt and concrete, and doing concrete where we really need to, and then asphalt in other areas that get us a little bit further. So eventually to connect all of our parks and to connect with Johnson City in different directions. So, 2.4 million from the governor's office, a direct appropriation. It's a blessing. And highly recommend we accept it. And as you said, run, walk, cycle, whatever we need to do.
That's right. And we hope there's more to come. We hope. All right, Alderman,
Very appreciative. Move to approve.
motion to approve from Alderman Dixon. Okay. Second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, Madam Recorder.
Ah,
All right. All right, our last item's another, something we've had our eye on and thought we've needed to do for years. And that's discussion and possible action concerning approval of the purchase of the Engel properties located at 258 East Main Street. We've run into issues with the McKinney Center. It's become a very successful facility for us, and we run into issues sometimes with parking. We've always looked across this fence and said, man, I wish we had that field over there for parking. And we're fortunate that the Engel family is, I think they care about that too. And so we have the opportunity. I don't think they took any other offers. We were pretty well the first offer, and they accepted. And we're gonna make that purchase and do something with that property, one, parking it or something else.
So for those that are here, it's basically it's the business with the 1-car carport and then the
Flower shop.
It's the old florist shop
Broyles, and then the 3.58 acres of vacant land.
behind it.
Yeah, and we'll have some visioning and some brainstorming on the uses. And it is contiguous with the McKinney Center. So as you said, it's been years, and it's been months since we've been talking to Mr. Don Engel, who's been very gracious to talk to myself and the mayor and Teresa and other, I think even Ann was involved a little bit. So it's been a long journey, but it didn't take 5 or 8 years. So that's a good thing. And we're excited to close this chapter on this property.
And there's something that he said too, and we all probably have a story, but I can remember so many times as a youngster going in and Miss Sarah being there and the town having this property. It just, to me, it seems fitting. And Grohl's Florist was a staple in Jonesborough. And so it's either Miss Wings or Miss Grohl's. You either went to one of the two. And so very grateful that we're going to make this move tonight. And I also think it's important to say whether it's the Jackson or whether it is this property or if it is the trails that we just voted on, these strategic investments that we're making in the Tennessee's oldest town that have dividends 3-4 decades down the line. These are conscientious investments in the future of our town because we are seeing new residents, new neighbors come into town. They seem to love this town, and I think it is because of these strategic investments that they're making. So glad to see it. Very glad to see it. Very appreciative to the Eagle family for working with us.
They're great.
They'll still have the home to sell there on. So if they wants to do a
Yes.
little nice historic home to fix up and live in, there's one right there for sale right in front of the McKinney Center. You can volunteer to help us park people then. That's one thing I know Glenn and Todd Wood and I, we all talked about, with the success of our festivals, where are people going to park? Where are they going to park when the Jackson Theater's here? And we tend to think, on Friday nights, if you just come to Square, we'll see 1,000 to 1,500 people there sometimes, and people find places to park. But we want to make it easier on people, and there might be places like this where we can shuttle people into town and things. So that's when Adam talks about decisions like that. That's kind of what we're thinking, trying to think far ahead.
We've talked about Teresa and Teresa showed me some just conceptual stuff as far as even a potential linear trail around the property, and if there was any need for parking, probably more of a rustic approach so that it could be used for open space venue. And there's just, I think, a lot of great ideas. And again, just being connected to McKinney Center and the process was great with the Mr. England.
They could have some of their outdoor programming there. in the city.
Yes.
Well, I'll take a motion from somebody.
Mayor, glad to move to approve.
All right, motion to approve from Alderman Dixon,
Second.
second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, please. All right. Well, that's a wrap. 7:55. Thank you all for coming.
How many?
Thank you.
Are gonna be?
On that,